where does the bills you talked about in the Senate, where do they stand now?
The major bill on criminal justice reform in the Senate, that I co-sponsored with Chuck Grassley, Republican of Iowa, is passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee 15-5. So it is currently on the floor. What we're trying to do is to really bring together more Republican support. And so we're working on finessing some of the sections to get more Republican senators.
How do you feel its chances are as it stands now? Do you need more massaging to get it through both the Senate Republicans and the House?
I still believe there's a chance to do it this year. And I'm heartened by the fact that Speaker Paul Ryan has said that he wants to bring up criminal justice reform in the House. If he does, that really puts more pressure on Senator McConnell to move in the Senate.
Obama's going to Springfield next week.
Yes, he is.
Is he going to scold the lawmakers about bipartisanship? And do you think that they'll listen to him?
I'm not going to be writing a speech, and I'm unlikely to see it ahead of time. But I think there are a number of reasons for the trip. He's been asked over the years as president to return to the legislature where he started. He announced his candidacy for the presidency 9 years ago in Springfield. And I think what they told me is he wants to really address the need for more cooperation to solve problems nationally and at every level. But I can't go beyond that. I doubt that he will get directly or personally involved in the current budget impasse in Springfield.
Would you be attending the speech?
I think so. I hope so.
I wanted to ask you about an idea that the president talked about yesterday about a tax on oil. Do you think that's appropriate now with gas prices being so low?
Well, I didn't hear his suggestion. Is this a gas tax you're talking about?
He said a tax on oil.
Well, here's what I think. 2 weeks ago, I paid $1.51 a gallon for gasoline in downstate Illinois. And clearly the price of gasoline has gone down dramatically, as has the price of a barrel of oil, which I think is below $30. I think we're missing an opportunity here. A 5-cent increase in the federal gas tax can really fund an infrastructure program that can help create new jobs in this economy and help businesses. Now's the time to do it. Now that we're burning fewer gallons of gas because of more fuel-efficient cars and trucks, now that the price is this low, now's the time to do it. If that's what the president is proposing for that purpose, I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk.
Where would you like to see the gas tax money go? Same thing, road construction?
Dedicated to infrastructure. That's the way I see it. And it's interesting because state after state has decided to do that, and the people accept it. If this is going to be a dedicated tax going to make highways safer, end congestion, create business opportunities, there's strong local support, bipartisan support. So we should do the same at the federal level.
But is there any chance of getting that past Republicans?
No.
What do you think the federal government's role should be in helping CPS?
Well, I think that primarily this is a state and local challenge. And I'm not saying that to get off the hook, but the amount of federal contribution to our schools is a very small percentage. The vast majority of funds coming into our school system, K through 12, is coming from state and local sources. We're involved in things like school lunch, but when it comes to the actual funding of schools, it's state and local. We're not going to be riding to the rescue from Washington.
I wanted to ask you about the Zika virus letter that you and other senators signed. What are your concerns about the federal response so far to the Zika virus?
Well, let me tell you first, I was at the Center for Disease Control on Monday in Atlanta when Brazil suspected the Zika virus transmitted by mosquitoes was causing miscarriages and serious birth defects. They sent their evidence to Atlanta, Georgia, to the federal government of the United States of America, to the CDC. They went in and they established a clear connection. So that ought to give people some confidence that what we have in America, and particularly the Center for Disease Control, is considered the best in the world. Secondly, this mosquito and this virus is not going to stay in South America. We already have 20 or 30 reported cases in Puerto Rico and a few in the Virgin Islands, and we're expecting even more. So we need the CDC to help us identify the areas most vulnerable and to move in quickly to kill these mosquitoes and to encourage people to use bug repellent and other things. It is a serious, serious problem, and it can literally lead to children having compromised lives if we don't do something about it.
Are you at all concerned about creating a panic? Because last time we talked about a virus with Ebola a year and a half or so back, people got a little worked up.
Well, we should be attentive and honest about this. It is primarily a danger to pregnant women, and that's bad enough. But if we're going to deal with it, there are common sense things we can do to protect ourselves. There are only a handful of cases in the United States, and they are only from people who travel to these foreign countries at this point. So the fear is Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands will be the next place, and that's where we ought to focus our resources now to try to stop the transmission.
Do you feel any resistance from the Republican side on this, or do they see this as a major problem?
They have not been engaged, and they have not made any proposals on their own. It calls for a greater role of government because there's nowhere else to turn. The Center for Disease Control is the agency to turn to. And I hope that some of the speeches about let's close down the federal government, no will notice. I hope some of those speeches will be held in abeyance while we deal with this serious public health challenge.
I have one more question. Senator, are you going to be running for governor?
I have no plans other than what I'm doing today. I love this job, and I've been honored to represent it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.